Okay, Anthrop's here with the Bloody Point, continuing our video on Dysterra and the assault on one of the facilities. This is the Chemochamber, a radiation condition facility that you can assault for loot, and it also gives you the control card, which allows you to create...
The Chemochamber area is totally overrun by terrible monsters.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder what happened inside.
Yeah, me too. Allows you to get the card, which allows you to create environmental effects on the world. So I haven't done this one, I don't think, but if I have, it's been a long time. So let's pop our meds, get ready, and assault this facility. Most of these facilities have a barrier that you have to break with a certain tier weapon.
You've been exposed to radiation.
Or melee.
You'll lose more and more health as the stack goes up, so don't stay too long. You can craft anti-radiation shots to lower your radiation stats and recover more quickly. Gear up with radiation-resistant armor. This chamber has been taken by cloning monsters. They are defective products of the human cloning of Hellbind Corp. The creatures are supposed to be disposed of by Insurator team, but the last terrifier in the Delta area that caused the insurating system error let them escape.
Hey, ain't your place to be blabbering about other folks' business like it's some damn joke, Ms. Holden. You're just gonna stir up trouble. We all been played by higher-ups, and guess what? You ain't no exception, are ya? I don't care whether you get screwed by those creatures or not, but don't go bragging as if you know everything. That makes me feel like shit!
So you'll probably notice, if you've looked at anything for this game, be it the trailers or, gameplay, is that the English translations, both in text and in audio, is slightly off. It's clearly, written not by a native English speaker. It's off-putting to some people. It doesn't really bother me, but it is something that is, you'll notice if you are a native English speaker. It's something that can be corrected, though. I don't know if it's something they will do or not, but it doesn't really disturb gameplay too much. Okay, so as you can see, there is narration throughout the game. This game actually has multiple modes of play. There's online PvE, online PvP. There are variations of those as regards, raiding and no raiding. Then there's also a single-player mode, which is more story-based. It's a little unique, I think, in this genre to have that mode available. So listening to those things is somewhat more important in that context. Here, though, it's just I'm on the hardcore PvP servers, sorry, so it's not as important. I'm being very cautious. Part of that is warranted because the gun I have, the magazine, is not very large. And I don't really know how many of these mobs and how sturdy they will be in each of these individual rooms, so I'm being careful. The other part of that is that, I just don't want to die, right? And I'm being careful. So you'll see that my radiation stat on the lower left was building up. I've taken a shot and it's gone back to 0. These shots, the basic one, will remove 100 radiation. So you kind of want to wait till it gets at or near that if you don't have a lot of them. And then the healing I was doing was with a vitamin drink. There are different consumables you can use to heal yourself. You can see bandages on my bar as well. And they heal different types. So the game has a nice feature, again, where it allows you to have 2 hotbars and you can swap between them. So you can really have, all the different things you need on the bars to suit whatever the situation is. You can see that I'm looting these things on the side, getting various, sometimes ammunition, sometimes crafting materials, and so on as I go. There's no in-facility map, and some of these facilities, it can be a little bit easy to get lost. In fact, that happened to me on my way out of the facility, which is funny. You'll see that in the future. But this one has an objective. So if you look on the left side, you'll see that I have to access or acquire 2 key cards, which will open doors and granting access to other parts of the facility. And then there's a second stage, and then a final third stage to this as well. The AI for the NPCs, the mobs, it's not great. it is a little odd, you know. If you play the game, you'll begin to notice that in some circumstances it seems bad, and others it seems freakishly good. I'm not really sure what's at play there, you know, how they've coded it, what they're actually doing, but it does keep you on your toes because you can't get too comfortable thinking you can just wade in, you know, shooting willy-nilly, and then suddenly you're overwhelmed, or somebody's like jump behind you, or whatever the case would be. In this facility, you also have the kind of like mutated, stronger mobs like that one, and they're of different types, and it's not obvious if you haven't run it before what their capabilities are. So again, I'm being careful by using some grenades. As it turns out, I probably was a little overcautious even with those guys, but you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. They also, in some cases, have ranged attacks. You'll see he's about to shoot one, and I just get out of the way. Radiation-themed attacks, of course. I did find 2 of the required mobs for the daily mission. As you can see on the left side, I did find 2 out front, but there is 1 missing. It's possibly that was done intentionally, in that, you know, give you a taste of where they are, and then encouraging you to go inside. There's a lot of that I noticed in the progression of the various things you need to craft, and the way the materials work. You know, you can refine basic materials using workstations into their higher forms, but you can also get those higher forms directly in the world by going to harder points of interest or areas of the map. So it's all nicely put together. Some of these doors stay open and some don't. They guess, you know, are triggered by proximity of either yourself or the mobs. Again, you know, the clip or the mag, I guess it's a mag. Its size is a problem here, so I have to like disengage quite a lot. But the mob, as you can probably tell, you know, it isn't really as beefy as I was concerned by it. You don't need that many to kill this particular one, but there are different variants, and it's not clear which is which in some cases. So, okay, we are going to now focus on the objective and pick up the key cards. Again, this is a PvP server, so anybody else could come in here while I'm focused on the mobs. And in fact, when this came out originally 11 months ago, and I was playing with some people where we assaulted a much more difficult facility, we did encounter people there doing the same thing at the same time, and you have this you know, PvPvE experience, which can be quite fun. The facilities also, you know, they have doors, they have the barrier out front. The way things play out can be funny in that you're actually stuck inside with another group of players, and you can't focus on the mobs anymore. You just have to focus on suppressing them. Making sure. So you probably have noticed that I have used that kind of a dash ability at times. You have implant type things, they're called protocols, which you can slot into your character. You have 2 slots for them. There are different types. There's the dash, there's a heal, there's a cloak, there's a shield. You can get them in different rarities as well. They're craftable. The dash is really useful in creating space quickly if needed, and I've used that a few times. They have a cooldown timer. They take damage as well, so you will eventually need to replace them. So I have the first key card, and that means that I have access to one of the doors to the central chamber, and then I need the second one. The main chamber is where you're going to see something like a dungeon style, you know, boss encounter with unique mechanics and so on. Every facility has something slightly different. You know, when things get much busier, more than 2 mobs at a time, managing those, the reload, your radiation, and so on, all at once can be difficult. If you look in the lower left, you know, the food you don't have to worry about too much while you're in combat if you go into the bar. But some of the abilities, such as the dash, take battery power. You can see that at the bottom bar in the lower left, and you have to manage that as well. And of course, your health. If you're not familiar with the game, your character actually has a robot arm, and the robot arm is what allows you to do certain things like harvesting some of the abilities, and that does take power. Okay, so I'm gonna use a couple grenades. I don't have a lot of these. They are craftable. I haven't crafted them yet. These are ones I just looted from a facility, but I don't know what's in the last room, so I don't want to waste them if it's not needed. These mobs are somewhat reminiscent of the xenomorphs from the Alien franchise. The design on them is not that bad. I kind of like them. The music is, you know, not overwhelming, but it sets the mood. The sound design is pretty good. The visuals are really good. You know, I do like this art style, I have to say. Every facility is different, but there is a kind of like a very similar feel to it. The same is true for the player-made bases. You know, as you upgrade them, the surface textures change. But it all does have a very cohesive art style in it, and I do appreciate that. It's very well done. Okay, so gotta go for the second card now. Now, mobs do respawn. I have seen that happen. I'm not entirely sure what their timer is, but you can end up in a situation if you're deep in a facility, you know, where you're lower on ammo, lower on heals, possibly injured. You know, you could even have your weapon could break. If you look at my 2 slot on my bar, you'll see my assault rifle is actually at half durability. You can repair that in the field if you have the material that's needed. It's just a single resource that is used for repairs. So you can do that, but it's something you have to keep in mind. I have had it happen where a weapon is broken while I'm fighting, and that's bad. You'll be stuck with your sidearm or heaven forbid, even melee. Well, the melee is actually nice. There are stages of the game where I favor melee over weapons, to be honest. Okay, interesting that like the number of rounds taken to kill it, I mean, they weren't all headshots, so it could have been less, but it was almost the size of the upgraded clip. Okay, so got the second key card. The mechanics here are not like overly complex, but they're enough to keep you interesting. I mean, you know, we've been running around in FPSs for keycards since Doom, but it's a good mechanic, and there's no need to do anything fancy. Okay, so now I have to go through the actual access-controlled gates now that I have unlocked them, and some of these hallways I have gone through and some I haven't. You know, this design is actually, you know, biosymmetric. It's bisymmetric rather. It's mirrored, so you can get lost a little bit or turned around if you're not careful. And I haven't gone through here yet, so I don't actually know what's ahead. And you'll see very quickly that I find out the hard way. And I have forgotten to place my sleeping bag. I was smart in packing it, crafting it, and bringing it, but I did not place it. So if I die, I'm going to have to respawn back at the base. So, you know, basics for this kind of game, but mistakes have been made. And here's another mistake. There are a lot of mobs. So I hope you enjoyed this second half of this particular video. I will be posting the rest of this encounter in the next one. Thanks for watching.